Okay, this is question number 6 in the 2021 Paper 2 A-Level series. It's describe the structure and function of a neuron. It is the first question in the biopsych section of that paper. Okay, now this question is fairly straightforward, although there are a lot of keywords that you need to make sure that you get into this question. Okay, so when it comes to structure, I've kind of drawn out a little diagram there. You need to make sure that you're using words like cell body, nucleus, dendrites, myelin sheath, axon terminals, nodes of Ranvier, that type of thing. And you need to be explaining what those things actually are in relation to the neuron. Okay. You also need to make sure that you get a line in there about what the function of a neuron is. Like, what actually does a neuron do? Okay, it's not going to make up the majority of your answer. It's probably just going to be a sentence, maybe two, but you will lose marks if you don't do that. And the examiners at the time did reference the fact that not very many students actually managed to put into words what the function of a neuron is, even though the description of the structure was generally quite good. Okay, now before we start as well, it is just worth noting that you can draw a diagram in your answer, and it's important to remember that you can gain credit for information that's presented in a diagram, and if you feel like you need that to help you, then please do draw a diagram to help you to explain the structure, because it might bring a little bit of clarity, and it will definitely help you to avoid wasting time writing lengthy descriptions, particularly if you're not entirely sure what you want to write or how to be concise with your writing. Okay, so if you want to do a diagram, do it nice and big, make sure it's labeled, and then you can add words and sentences to describe what you've drawn. So let's have a look at a model answer for this. So my first line is immediately going to tick off that bit about the function of a neuron. Okay, so a neuron is responsible for transmitting information throughout the nervous system. Okay, so then we jump in and we talk about the structure. Okay, so each neuron contains a cell body which houses the nucleus. Okay, now again, breadth and depth, you can go in and you can tell me what the nucleus is, that all the genetic material of the cell is held within the nucleus, but I haven't done that because I'm going to put my detail somewhere else. Okay, so extending from the cell body are the dendrites. Dendrites receive impulses from other neurons and carry these towards the cell body. From there, the impulses travel along the axon, which carries the impulse away from the cell body and towards other neurons, muscles, or glands. Okay, so you got your first 3 marks there already. The axon is coated in a fatty layer called the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath both insulates and helps the impulses to travel quickly and efficiently. The sheath has small gaps called the nodes of Ranvier, and those gaps allow impulses to jump along the axon, which speeds up transmission. Okay, now at that point, if you are an A-level biologist and you want to go into a little bit more detail on the biology side of things about how the nodes of Ranvier actually work, then that's absolutely fine. But for A-level psychology, you don't need that. Okay, and then your final mark comes from mentioning that at the end of the axon, you have the axon terminals, which contain the neurotransmitters that allow the neurons to communicate across the synapse with the next neuron in the pathway. And there is your 6th mark. Okay, so you'll notice the keywords are very, very important, because the keywords will very much give you structure in terms of what it is that you should be talking about. Okay, so keywords like cell body, nucleus, dendrites, axon, myelin sheath, nodes of Ranvier, and axon terminals, those are your key structures within the neuron. Okay, if you can manage to name those within your answer, then that will help to give you structure, and it will make sure that you are on target and you don't start to waffle, or you don't kind of start to go off track or lose focus within your answer. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Thank you very much for watching.